The Haunting Spirit in the Jar. On a summer afternoon, Emma and Max sat on the porch of their grandmother's cottage, staring at the distant hills. The sun was warm, and the scent of wildflowers lingered in the air. Grandma had gone to the village to visit friends, leaving Emma and Max with an afternoon to explore the old house. "Hey, Max, what do you think is in the attic?" Emma asked, her eyes twinkling with mischief. She loved a good adventure, and the attic of their grandmother's cottage was filled with dusty old boxes, forgotten relics, and, probably, spiders. Max, who was a little less enthusiastic about attic adventures, raised an eyebrow. "Isn't that where Grandma keeps all the weird stuff?" "Exactly," Emma grinned. "Come on, it'll be fun. We could find treasure or a haunted broomstick," Max interrupted, crossing his arms. Emma rolled her eyes. "Okay, you chicken. You stay here then." Max sighed dramatically. "Fine. But if I get eaten by a ghost, I'm blaming you." "Deal." Emma grabbed the nearest flashlight and scampered inside. Max reluctantly followed, dragging his feet. The attic was exactly as Emma had imagined. Old furniture covered in dusty sheets, boxes stacked high, and the scent of mildew in the air. They carefully crept around, the floorboards creaking with every step. Max spotted something strange at the far end of the attic. A dusty shelf stood against the wall, and on it, something shiny caught his eye. "Hey, Emma, look at this," he called. Emma trotted over to see what he had found. Sitting in the middle of the shelf was an old glass jar, almost the size of a small vase. It was clear, with intricate designs carved into the sides, but what was more unusual was the faint smoke swirling inside it. It wasn't like a candle's smoke. It was thick, dark, and seemed to move on its own. "Whoa, that's weird," Emma said, eyes wide. "What is that, like ghost smoke?" Max cautiously poked the jar with his finger. The smoke inside swirled, almost like it was reacting to his touch. Suddenly, the smoke began to gather, forming into a small, smoky face inside the jar. "I don't like this," Max muttered, stepping back. But Emma was intrigued. "It's probably some sort of magic thing. Let's open it." "Wait. No. You don't open things you don't understand, Emma." Max's voice was half whisper, half panicked. He took another step back. "Don't be a baby," Emma teased. She grabbed the lid of the jar and twisted it open with a satisfying pop. Max's heart skipped a beat as the smoky face inside the jar let out a loud whoosh and began to expand. The air was filled with a strange, thick fog. A low, raspy voice echoed from within the cloud. "Finally, freedom." The smoke swirled into a large figure, and suddenly, in front of them, stood a very confused-looking ghost. Or maybe it was a creature. It was hard to say. It had no legs, just floating around with an eerie glow in the center. Its form was like smoke, but solid enough to vaguely resemble a human. It was then that the creature, who appeared to be an ancient, grumpy-looking smoky ghost, spoke again. "Why did you open the jar?" it grumbled, its voice like a low wind rustling through leaves. Max jumped back, nearly tripping over a stack of boxes. We didn't mean to." "Sorry." Emma, however, was a lot less scared. "Wait, are you a ghost?" Genie? A smoky spirit thing," she asked, her curiosity piqued. The ghost crossed its smoky arms, clearly annoyed. "I am Zolo, an ancient spirit who has been trapped in that jar for centuries. And no, I'm not a genie. I can't grant wishes. I am not here for your entertainment." Max, still half hiding behind a stack of old books, whispered to Emma. Do you think he can read minds?" Emma shrugged. "I don't know. Let's ask him." She raised her hand. "Zolo, can you hear us when we think?" The smoky figure paused for a moment, and then nodded slowly. "Yes, and it's incredibly annoying." Emma grinned. "Awesome. So, what's it like being stuck in a jar for centuries? Boring? Lonely?" Zolo sighed dramatically, as if Emma's questions were the least of his problems. It was the worst. Imagine being stuck in a glass jar, unable to move or stretch for, I don't know, 1,000 years or so. I lost track of time. "Wow, sounds uncomfortable," Max said, trying to be sympathetic but clearly still freaked out. "You have no idea," Zolo grumbled. And now I have to deal with 2 kids. Great. Hey, we're not just any kids, Emma said with a proud smirk. We're explorers. We found you after all. Zolo gave her a deadpan look. Explorers, huh? You've got a lot of nerve for someone who can't even climb a ladder without screeching. Max's eyes widened. I don't screech. You did last time, Emma teased, nudging him with her elbow. Max crossed his arms. I do not screech. I squeaked, maybe. Zolo groaned. I'm surrounded by chaos. Just fantastic. The more the siblings chatted with Zolo, the more they realized this ghost wasn't the most helpful spirit. Sure, it had a good sense of humor, but it was also incredibly grumpy. Okay, so, Zolo, what exactly do you want now that you're out of the jar? Emma asked, hands on her hips. Zolo floated in the air, his smoky form twisting and swirling. Honestly, I don't know. It's been so long since I was out in the world. I'm hungry, thirsty, a little bit lost. My last memory is of an evil sorcerer locking me away in that blasted jar. Max raised an eyebrow. So you're basically like an ancient, smoky toddler? Zolo glared at him. I'm not a toddler. I am a being of immense power. I once caused storms that could wipe out entire villages with a single wave of my hand. Emma giggled. So you're like a powerful cloud? Zolo's eyes flared with smoke. You think this is funny, kid? Emma immediately stopped laughing. No. Not funny. Max, sensing the rising tension, quickly changed the subject. What if we help you? You know, get you back to your old self. Zolo seemed to consider this. Fine. Maybe you two aren't completely useless after all. After much back and forth, Zolo finally revealed that to regain his full power, he needed a special potion. The ingredients? A strange mix of things that would require them to venture into the forest, the village, and even the local bakery. First, we need moon water, Zolo said, floating through the air. Then, we need a piece of ancient parchment from the village library. Oh, and don't forget the red berries from the witch's tree in the forest. Max looked at Emma. I thought Grandma said that tree was haunted. It's fine, Emma assured him. We have a ghost with us, remember? Zolo grumbled. If anyone gets haunted, it'll be you two, not me. What followed was a series of chaotic, hilarious events. Emma and Max had to sneak past the villagers to get the moon water from the old well, which was rumored to be cursed. They ran into an overenthusiastic old woman who thought they were witches, got chased by a very angry cat, and narrowly escaped the witch's tree after Max accidentally knocked over a beehive. Zolo, we're going to need a lot more than a smoky spell to get out of this mess, Max said, running from a swarm of bees. Zolo's smoky form wobbled with laughter. Maybe I'll leave you two to deal with it next time. But in the end, they gathered all the ingredients. With one last, deep breath, Zolo mixed them together in the jar, which shimmered and glowed as the potion worked its magic. With a final puff of smoke, Zolo's form solidified. He was no longer a cloud but an actual somewhat handsome, albeit still smoky, figure. He stretched his arms wide. Much better. I feel amazing, Zolo exclaimed. Emma and Max stared at him, waiting for some sign of thanks. Finally, he looked at them, a hint of gratitude in his eyes. All right. You helped me. I'll give you this, thanks, Zolo said, sounding less grumpy than before. And if you ever need a favor, just ask. Max raised an eyebrow. A favor? Like a genie? No. Not a genie, Zolo replied, rolling his eyes. But I can help out if you're ever in danger. Or if you need a snack. I'm great with snacks. Emma smiled. We'll keep that in mind. As they left the attic and the ghostly figure behind, Emma looked at Max. Well, that was interesting. Max nodded, still unsure about everything. Let's just hope the next adventure doesn't involve more ghosts. Or bees. Zolo's voice echoed from above them. Don't worry, kids. I'm always around. You can't get rid of me that easily. Emma grinned. Oh, we wouldn't dream of it, Zolo. And with that, they headed back to the cottage, the jar now empty but their minds full of adventures yet to come.